everybody, and welcome back. It is Monday, and here's Miss Susie again. She's been out with the herd all weekend. She has not been in her stall. And we are going to, isn't this nice? This is great. So we're going to talk about a couple of new areas to starting young horses that we did not address last week. And Susie's mama, Miss Barb, is here too to see the progress today. A couple of areas I want to talk about specifically for all of you is why haven't I been grooming her or picking up her feet or fly spraying her or doing any of the basic handling. And I'll tell you why. First of all, I didn't raise her, and if I had raised her, and Barb did, so she's great with picking up her feet, those are things you would be doing with your young weanling and your yearling. You should be doing those things. Handling the feet, getting your horse used to being groomed, and of course being bathed, and of course fly spray. So because she came to me as a 2-year-old with, prior handling obviously and prior work in some areas like the round pen, I wanted to get to know her first and build the level of trust with her, especially with the head shyness. I really wanted her to feel safe with me before I started asking her to be even more vulnerable. I did pick up her feet. We're going to go through all of that, and she was fine. She's horrible with fly spray. So I'm going to show you guys how I handle fly spray, which is similar to how I handle the hose, but not. So if you remember, and did we film Sabrina the first day when I hosed her down? Monday. We did. So we filmed the first day that I worked with her. When I'm hosing, introducing a horse to the hose, I am not shy about it because I know how much horses love water. So for all of you that don't have experience swimming with your horses or playing in the water, or your horse is really enjoying water like mine have, you don't know that. So for me, as soon as I get a hose, the hose goes to their mouth immediately. Doesn't go to their legs and go softly and then work your way up. It goes to their mouth. Why? Because their mouth is part of their gregariousness, their gregarious nature, and their mouth is part of their play. So I want to stimulate the play, and I'll stay there, and I know they might be like this, like, oh my gosh, and I'll put the hose on a soft spray, or maybe I'll take the nozzle off, whatever I can do that works for that horse, and I'll keep the water spraying I'll do the shower spray, nozzle, and setting. And I'll let it just keep hitting their mouth until they relax. I'll stay there until they relax, and then they'll start playing with it. And then you can just start going all over their body, and they're fine. 99% of the time, they're fine. So that's how I handle a hose. Now, fly spray is a little different. It makes a different noise. It has a different spray, and predominantly they hate it. So I'm not just going to start spraying them and desensitizing them, because a lot of people will take a stall situation, structure, which is easy to confine the horse, and they'll just put the horse in a halter and lead rope and start spraying them, and the horse is running around them, and they'll just keep doing it until they desensitize or sack the horse out. And that's not how I work. So we're going to take a much softer, gentler approach and retreat approach with the fly spray, back off approach with her this morning. And then we're also going to take a look at the grooming and how I would handle, after I've spent a week with her, how I will now handle bringing her out and teaching her without cross ties that you need to stand here. But see, teaching a horse to ground tie, basically by throwing the lead rope over their withers, and then nothing's holding them but your relationship. So that's why I wanted to work on developing a relationship and her trusting me more last week, and then I'll test it while I ask her to stand out here. And I throw the lead rope over her back. I'll be able to grab it, but I don't want to hold her, and I don't want to cross tie her. Now, don't get me wrong, all young horses need to learn how to be tied, but that's a whole nother process that I develop slowly and as we're working together, meaning I don't just tie them and teach them that they've got to learn how to be tied. First, I'm going to work on all of the pressure, the steady pressure, and she's what? So spooky with her head and resistant. She was so resistant last week to that pressure behind the pole. We've got to work on her becoming more accepting of pressure around the pole and trusting of that contact. And so there's lots of ways we can do that non-linear, or non-linear, sorry. Because most people are just linear about horse training. And if they see a horse having a problem, they want to address it right away, and they want to address that problem with the problem. We're going to go about it the way the horse goes about it and think outside the box. And so everything that I've been doing that you're learning last week and moving forward, especially with the rope halter, is going to help her become more accepting of contact and giving when she feels pressure instead of pulling, which is very instinctual in horses. They're oppositional by nature, very instinctual. So we're going to keep working on all those areas and then keep testing it. And then I'll show you gradually, not today, how we'll test the tying, how I would go about it that's safe for the horse. That's, yeah, very good for the horse. So she has not needed her halter since last week. I'm going to muck her stall real quick because she's been stressed out this morning by being separated. And she doesn't have diarrhea anymore, which is excellent. And she's not cribbing, which is excellent. But she's pooping a lot. So let's talk about the environment and the way that I've structured everything. And this will be good for Barb to hear too, why I have it set up the way I have it set up. So I mentioned to Barb when she first came here that Suzie does not crib in her stall. But if I open the door and allow her to go out, she's reminded of her friends out there and how she wants to be out there. And then she starts to get anxious and insecure, and then she starts cribbing out there. So that's one thing that I've observed, and also in my experience, why I would put them in the stall. But also, like I mentioned last week, look where her stall is, right across from my office. So she gets to see me all day. Many times I come out and touch her and love on her. So I get to keep building on that relationship, even when I'm not working with her intensely for the time that we've allotted. So for all of you that want to train horses or train your own horse, start thinking outside the box how you can set up situations that are going to help you keep developing and nurturing the trust in the relationship when you're not working with your horse. So where can you position your young horse? In the barn, in the paddock? Can you keep the young horse out and around you? When I had my full training facility before we bought this farm, and I was working with horses all the time, I always had stations, I would call them, stations set up. And stations could be paddocks, areas that were specifically designed to help specific situations. And one of the most powerful as a horse trainer was being able to bring all the horses together in a 2-acre training field, so that while I was working and my assistant was working, Mia, we were working with multiple horses, and we had the ability to be around them for hours, even when we weren't working with them. And that allowed us to keep an eye on the herd dynamic and behavioral issues and help horses acclimate better, because we were hands-on. One of us, both of us, we were there. Plus I had a lot more staff. There was always working students. So I set myself up so that we could keep an eye on the whole dynamic and help all these new horses, older horses, younger horses, whatever challenges they might have had. We could be out together. oh, whatever, 4 to 6 hours a day. And then they would go back into their stall, or they would, you know, go back out for the evening. So that really helps you be in a position where you can keep an eye and help regulate and help guide situations. The problem I see with traditional horse training is people keep them in a stall all day or put them out all day, and then they go grab the horse and they just work with that horse that day for that hour, and then the horse is out of their sight. So the horse doesn't have an opportunity to form a relationship with a bond and get to trust people. And then you end up resorting to more forceful training because the horse is buddy sour, or the horse doesn't trust you and they prefer to be with the horses. But look how you're not setting yourself up for success, and you're not setting the horse up for success. This poor horse is now here without her human person, and she's not my horse, so I'm not going to bond with her like I normally would, but I'm also going to try and set up the situation that gives us an opportunity to bond frequently, if that makes sense for all of you. I would never just keep her in here by herself all the time. I would never throw her out 23 hours and then bring her back in. If you're choosing this new way of training and being with horses, my way, it's got to be this way. You've got to think outside the box, or it's not going to work. So those are some insights on how to set you guys up for success, whether you're just want to learn how to train your own horse, or you want to learn to train using my holistic method. And as I always say, every lesson that you guys learn from me, it's like the old saying, you can kill two birds with one stone. So my lesson is the stone, and yet you're learning 10 to 20 really important things about training. Not just the technique, but the ideas and the way to approach that particular horse and how to handle that particular situation. So take your time to review these lessons, because they're very deep and very layered and very valuable. There's a lot going on. More than meets your trained eye at this level. The more you do this, the more your eye is going to learn, the more you're going to perceive. Just take my word for that. So let me go on in. So this is great progress from last week as far as her eating. She wasn't hardly eating at all, Barb. Hay, and I'm only giving her 2 pounds of grain a day. Just 2. That's all she needs. Hi, baby. Yeah. So I want all my horses, it doesn't matter what age, any horse that I'm working with, I want them to become familiar with everything. So I won't avoid anything. I take the time it takes, so it takes less time. So she's going to get used to this kind of contraption. Maybe she's seen it before, but when she first looked at it, she's not sure. Of course, the fly spray is going to be a big deal, and it's not going to get fixed today. Just know that. Yep, it bumped into her front feet. That's all life. Noise, noise, noise. It's life. You got to get used to it. She's got to become what? Familiar with it. It does help when you have older horses, like when Blue became mine, he lived with my seniors, so he got to learn from them. So he might not have been sure about the same thing that just happened to her, but he would be in the stall, which we use as run-ins over here. He'd be in there with 2 of my older, very experienced horses. So of course they're like, "Phew, Mom's here, nothing to worry about." And then Blue goes, "Okay, nothing to worry about." So she's really got to rely on me right now. That's the benefit when you are a trainer of setting things up really well by having schoolmasters, horses that have already done this, been this way with you, and they have a lot of experience, so then they become lead horses, and then your young horses feed off of that. Good, bad, and the ugly. Good girl. Yeah, this is a good positive experience, Boo Boo. Yeah, you're good. You're good, baby girl. You're good. You're good. So the opposite of what's going on is she would be smelling the manure, getting in my way, loving on me, or eating. She's doing neither. Well, she's trying to smell the manure right now. Good girl. What's curiosity? The opposite of fear. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. And I'm doing a lot of positive talk. Yes, you know how wonderful the talking is. That's a good girl. Yeah. That's a good baby. That's a good baby girl. A sweet girl. Yeah, you're a sweet girl. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Aw, yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha, baby girl. You're gonna be fine. Just be careful, you guys, that you don't get kicked. Really know your horses. Okay? Because I'm in a vulnerable position when I'm behind her and in her blind spot and she's not sure, but I got my eye on her. All right? So when I know that she's looking at me, then she knows I'm back there. If she were just standing like this, frozen, and not looking at me as I'm behind her, you might get kicked out of defense. So you always want your horse to look. That's the opposite of fear. Good girl, what am I doing? What is this big thing that makes a lot of noise? It cleans up your poo-poo. It cleans up your poo-poo, baby. Yeah, oh, she's a good girl. Oh, look at that big worried eyeball. Oh, she's a good girl. I can give you some lovies. Look how dark she's getting. I swear she got darker since last week. Look at that. Yes, I feel good. Oh, we got the itchy spots. We're back to all them itchy spots. Yeah, some good spots. Yeah, there you go. So I'm making what? A good association. That means everything I present to her, including the fly spray, is going to be a good thing. Yeah. I'm just looking on you. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. Alrighty. All right, let me get this on out of here. So that's why I muck my new horses' stalls. That's why I do everything, you guys. Nobody does this for me until they come around and muck. But it's important for me to get information, a baseline of how she responds to things, what she's afraid of, what she's not afraid of. Hey, love buggy. All right. So I'm going to grab, my rope halter, because we're going to need this with the fly spray. Looks like I was riding. I was riding. Oh, it's all tied up. Not her. Not yet. Not until she's much more secure with me being above her and around her. But we'll get there. Maybe this week. All right, so same consistency, same repetition, same positive reward. I am going to call her to me. I'm not going to go get her, ever. I'd like to see if I'm more important, the relationship, than her food. Yeah, for all the right reasons. Oh, this is so nice. What a big change from last week. That's because the rope touched her. She can't see. Remember, horses can't see underneath of them, and the rope swung. I'm assuming I don't. And you're good. She was just, come here and trust me. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. You're okay. You're okay. I gotcha. It's just a little ropey. Oh, it's a good girl. So we have a really windy day. Probably 25, 30 mile an hour winds going on because we're due a big storm. And let's talk about wind. So why do horses become really spooky and unpredictable and nervous when it's windy out? How many of you know this? Barb, do you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The wind messes, correct. The wind messes with their hearing. and their smell a little bit. So everything you guys are learning in this course is going to help you get your horses to feel really safe with you and learn to work with you in partnership, but also rely on you as a leader to keep them safe. You're going to have that connection and that level of communication where you are going to be able to talk to each other, hear each other, understand when she's not feeling 100% secure, and take the time, know what to do. Take the time and know what to do in that situation. That's what you're learning. Hi, baby. Oh, yes, now it's the force lovies. Oh, we get to force lovey all the energy. That's what we worked on last week. How good that feels. Oh, that was easy. That was easy to force that love. Oh, I love it. That's when I force it. I make you come in and give me some eyeball kisses. Give me the eyeball kisses. Yeah. I want this horse that every time you go to touch her, she melts like butter. That's what you want. So you got to take the time so it takes less time. Now, while we're bonding and she's enjoying my touch and I'm allowing the rope to tap her where she can't see, because now I just, we just realized that she has a little bit of a, just a little bit of a problem with that. It's very normal though, okay? These young horses, that's why you're going to want to get the whips and the ropes and just tap them and let them get used to feeling that so they don't think it's a snake and cow kick you. Let's just talk about how we're going to help another technique to help young horse, any horse that pulls, is like a pullback, especially a horse that's a pullback. And she could potentially have been a pullback. And what do I mean by that? Well, you guys saw it. I'm holding the contact and she's just resisting. And then what does she do naturally? She pulls away from it. That's the beginning of a pullback. So if you keep fighting with that, you can make it worse. And if you think by tying them, and I've gotten all these horses, including Smokey, was the worst pullback I ever had. So they tied Smokey to his tail, they tortured him, they tied him up. God knows what else they did to him. I only have limited amount of knowledge about the abuse that horse underwent. But they tied him. And what did he learn how to do? Struggle, break free. That's one of the worst things a horse can learn to do. Holy cow. And they always become a bolting horse. So, one of the strategies is these wonderful rope halters do not break. So you must be careful to never tie a horse with these. All right, tie them to something. They don't break, you guys. They're not breakaway. Thank you, sweet pea. But we're not going to be doing this today. When I'm working with her in the round pen, I will allow, she'll be in this rope halter and lead rope, and I will drop the lead rope, and I will allow her to step on it. And she's going to freak out because she's going to step on it, want to pull her head up, and I swear to you, usually in 5 or 10 minutes, I'll set it up so I make that a lesson. But I won't do it until she's really good with liberty with me, and she'll stick with me. And then she's going to want to come to me as I call her, and she's going to step on it, and she's going to flip out. But in about 10 minutes, she's going to get over it. She's going to realize that she's doing it to herself, and if she stops panicking and giving, it'll all go away. And if it doesn't go away, it will go away eventually. But that's one of the most powerful lessons I will do with her, with any horse. Every horse, even the babies, they all got to get used to that pull, so they're all going to pull. But if they have as much head issues as she's had, it's going to be a lot worse. So that's something that we'll include this week. I just wouldn't do it in the beginning. I don't want to make everything a fight, you guys. I'm not here to have a fight with her and, you know, wrangle her. All right, let me get her. Let me call her back over. We're going to halt. Come here, baby. Oh, she's a good girl. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. So if it's not real tight and strong in your stall, it ain't gonna work in the round pen. This is a beauty of a stall. This is a nice big stall. You can do this in a 12 by 12. Get this tight. This is what you call submissive or surrender. So she's surrendering. She's accepting me right now, but it's only a week, you guys. It's not enough time. I'm gonna let her see if she'll take a bite, and then I'll call her back. It's not enough time. Oh, that good girl. Thank you, sweet pea. Oh, here I come. Here I come. I know, here I come. Yeah, here I come. That's all good stuff. Remember how good this felt last week? We got that good spot right there. That was a good spot for you. Oh, you're so tight and tense. That was a good spot. Good girl. Yeah, and remember how we work on teaching them? Good. And what is she coming into? Kisses and love. It's a good girl. Because this is what you're going to need to ride, you guys. You're going to need to be able to bend that horse around for safety's sake and suppling's sake. Oh, now I'm going to be an awful stepmommy. I'm going to bring the wicked fly spray bottle or water bottle. So, don't waste your fly spray. So this is where I'm going to retreat, because she's got to get used to the sound and what it looks like, because it's a lot of stimulation, you guys. Good girl. And approach. Good girl. Hush the baby. Yeah, and I'm going to work in my touch. Just make sure she's real flinchy and defensive. You don't want her striking you or kicking you, because that's normal. We talked about her nature last week, and she's very submissive. Baby Blue, as sweet as he is, wild. Y'all, you get to see that in this course. How when he feels threatened by something, he strikes, rears, kicks, and he's crazy. He's like a wild horse. So his self-preservation mode is more fight, and that's a more dominant characteristic or trait. She shuts down. She freezes, and that's why she flinches, like, you know, she freezes. So just make this, again, what are we doing here? A good experience for her. This is the opposite of desensitizing. Desensitizing, if it's done correctly, it's never done in a linear way. So if you look up the definition of desensitizing, that's when habitually your environment desensitizes you. So that means horses that are scared of bags, we just put bags all over the place, everywhere. Bags just become everyday noise, 24/7. We don't attack them with the bag and try to get them over the bag. Does that make sense? So this is not about desensitizing. This is creating a different association, a different experience through approach and retreat, touch, relationship, getting her used to this stuff. I can walk away too. I can walk away, creates a little, it's not a threat anymore. I'm not threatening her when you walk away. See how she's following me? Just let her become a little more curious. Now, the muzzle, we all have problems. Washing our horse's face, bathing their faces, and spraying their face. Not that I want to spray my horse's face, but, you know, my guys are so good, you can just do this and spray them. Okay, that's where we'd like to be, right? What did I say about the hose? It's water. So when she's this good, we'll start spraying the little nosy. Yeah, and let her get used to that and retreat. It's water. What's the nose? The nose is the most intimate place on a horse for many reasons. It's a trust. It's all about trust. They can't see. That's why they have whiskers to help them identify what's underneath. They have hundreds of muscles in their muzzle. If their muzzle doesn't work, they can't figure out food well, and they can't get food well. So their mouth is very important to them as a survival. So you have to respect that. Oh, go girly. Ashta, go girly. Yeah, you got to respect that. The wind doesn't help. The water's going everywhere. Ashta. And then I'm going to make it a good thing. And I'm going to touch you where you can't see again. Yes. Oh my gosh. We make mistakes with the sprayers. They just get all over the place. It's no big deal, sweetheart.